Welcome, both of you. We're honored to have you both for the HireTalent Substream Stack live. So first, I'd love to hear about your journey and how did you get started in this industry, and then
Yeah,
what are you passionate about for it?
sure. So when I graduated college, I wanted to do something that was like people driven. And so I got into staffing and selling IT staffing. And I sold into like the very first versions of MSPs. And I was like, I am not a salesperson. I am an operations person. I think I could grow those if I was internal. So I went on the MSP side and literally worked up from running a desk to doing director for pretty large global companies.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I'm tired of being on the MSP side. I want to see what the other side looks like so I could get a really well-rounded version
Yeah.
of this industry. So I came on the buyer side maybe about 7 years ago, I want to say, and just have continued to try to find the right fit for, like, what innovation we can bring and how do we build internal programs.
Interesting. So what do you think is the biggest difference between being the buyer and the program manager on the MSP side?
I think I'm still figuring that out from a buyer perspective
Yeah.
because there's a lot of internal alignment that looks very different than from a supplier perspective, where, you know, a lot of times when I thought about it from a supplier perspective is how do I beat the client to the solution so
Yeah.
that they trust us and they know we're leading them in the right direction.
Mhm.
Internally, it's hard to beat anyone to a solution because you got to get that solution socialized and
Yeah.
aligned and signed off on to then implement it. So it's just a different way of sort of navigating the conversations to get a good delivery of work.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way. So like, I'll tell you in my head sometimes I'm like, why doesn't the client just do this? It makes sense, right? But then you don't realize that you have to socialize it and do all these things. Like you may have thought about it, but it takes time to get it implemented.
And you got to think about it's not usually just procurement or HR,
Yeah.
right? Or you got to get both those teams first, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot of other teams that will touch
Yeah.
whatever you're looking to do. So there's a lot of socialization across these cross-functional teams that
Yeah.
happens, sometimes faster or slower depending on what organization you're with.
Yeah. And then fast forward, we bring in Trishan. What's your background story and how did you get involved in this?
Yeah, so I have a mix of both MSP and staffing. I actually grew up in the staffing world. So when I was growing up, my parents owned a staffing company in Sri Lanka, right? So that's what I saw growing up.
Yep.
Never wanted to do it. Guess what I'm doing today, right? But straight out of university, I went into, IT staffing, very similar to a lot of folks.
Yep.
But from there, I transitioned into the MSP world, right? Started from the bottom, literally like a Drake song, right? Started from the bottom as an analyst, worked my way up to, a global sales leader.
Yeah.
Spent around, close to 15 years in the MSP space. Did take a little break, went back to staffing and came back recently.
Yeah.
And joined a very cool crew at HireTalent and having a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've teased you that you couldn't
I
cut
know.
it in staffing.
Yeah.
So you had to
A
go
lot
back
of
to
people
MSP. No, but I'm glad you're back on the other side because I think you're a great partner. So we're really excited to have you. Maureen, what excites you most about the future of Contingent?
Of contingent, I would say, for a really long time, contingent labor solutions delivery looked very similar, very same. And I think we're at a very unique time where technology is innovating and giving us options to kind of attack different parts of the contingent labor population with
Yeah.
different solutions that add a lot more value a lot quicker. IC compliance, SOW sourcing. So I think we're finally about to turn a corner here where we are going to get more mature, more robust, and more efficient solutions to manage the contingent space.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be part of driving that in
Yeah.
the organization I'm in.
You kind of made me think of something with that, like talent. We're getting to a point where you can get talent when you want it, the way you want it, right? And then how do you view like the next year for SOW and CW? Because I've seen like the last 2 years, the trend's been we're moving everything from CW to SOW. Do you think that's going to continue? And if so, why? Why do you guys feel that it's going to happen?
I think, look, right now, right, again, we don't have a crystal ball to see what the future looks like, right? But as of right now, what we're seeing is staff are coming down, SOW going up, right, for multiple reasons, right? Is that going to be the same? Maybe, but also keep in mind a lot of that SOW is misclassified spend.
Yeah.
Right. It's there are many reasons why it's done that way. But to answer your question, is that going to be the same next year? We don't know.
Yeah.
But right now, the trend is, it's more towards SOW, project-based work. A lot of staffing companies would like that, right?
Yeah.
Just given the nature of work and basically how much clients spend. But we don't know. It's something that we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, SOW keeps going up. Staff aug keeps dropping.
Yeah.
I think part of that is due to how organizations are, like their project methodology. So like in a waterfall life cycle, you can bring in contingent labor that's staff aug for that portion of time, and then it sort of moves on to the next.
Yeah.
With it being a lot more companies working agile, you have these continuous teams working on continuous solutions. So it's harder to do that as staff aug. So people are looking at how do we really build that flex team concept in as an SOW, and I think we're still getting our hands around the right way to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that's why a lot of that is starting to move in that direction, because it's harder to bring in, especially in IT, sort of that staff aug mentality.
Rules.
Yeah. And then you have 10 years sometimes wrapped around it, so people in an agile, they can't stay throughout the duration of, like, say, a 6-year project. So how do we address that? I know there's a lot of theories on that, but
See, what's interesting is I think you bring up a very valid point, right? So while SOW is going up, right, a lot of programs are also bringing this middle bucket, right, which sits kind of between staff aug and SOW. It's really a bulk buy play, right?
Yeah.
It's a blanket SOW, if you will. And that seems to be a trend that keeps coming up, right? A lot of companies right now, especially those who have contingent workforce programs, are implementing that middle bucket. Why? Because to drive cost savings, it's not truly staff aug, it's not truly SOW. It kind of fits into that middle bucket, and that seems to be a trend as well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I was like, if you think about SOW, so you've heard me say this before.
Yeah.
Contingent labor has very well-defined rules, right? It's just
Right.
tenure limits, there's rate cards, all these sorts of rules, right? And co-employment risk and everything. And we're moving so fast as a society right now where your hiring managers want to make changes and make decisions quickly. And maybe those rules are too strict today, and that's why we're all moving to SOW. I call SOW some other work, because if you don't want to follow the rules of contingent, you put it in this bucket, and that could be FMS to everything else. And so it's maybe the only way to reverse the CW trend is to like loosen some of the restrictions.
I mean, it's on the suppliers as well, right? These rules are there for a reason.
Yeah.
They get stringent or becomes...
Because we keep breaking rules.
Exactly, right? It's because people, our suppliers, are breaking those rules.
Fair.
But, that can always change if you have a supply base that adheres to rules.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen?
Yeah.
I think it also goes down to how you contract for the different SOW types or the others that are there.
Yeah.
And that middle ground you're talking about, I don't think we've figured out exactly how to contract for that, where the supplier is ultimately responsible for the delivery, some deliverable outcome, even though they're providing you a flex team.
Yeah.
And I think if we could crack that and there be incentives in the way that we contract with those suppliers, you're going to get a more efficient delivery overall.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. That's a great point. Do you think the volume next year is going to be better than this year, same or less?
I would say either flat or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you raised the point earlier. It's sort of like there's so much changing in the U.S. It's how do we know how to hire against some of that until we sort of see it play out?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Trishan, do you feel the same?
Oh, 100%, right? I mean, I think we're all waiting to see what's next, right? And the impact to us as an organization, to our clients, to our suppliers. There's a lot riding. There are so many external factors, right?
Yeah.
So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. And then how do you see the MSP evolving, especially HireGenics over the next year, given all the changes in the market?
Look, I think, not just HireGenics, but all these MSPs here, right? I mean, everyone's adapting to change, right? They're bringing in tools and solutions that's around stuff like AI, right? They're listening to their clients. They're listening to, what the market is asking for. And honestly, these things actually have a direct impact on the process and the experience as well, right? So even for HireGenics, we're definitely investing in AI in the right places, right? Is AI going to take over the entire process? Absolutely not, right?
Yeah.
But there are pieces in the process that where you can bring in AI to remove manual steps, to create a better experience, to bring in efficiencies.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, and some of our peers are doing the same as well.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a very exciting time.
Thank you for having
Yes,
us.
Thank you guys.
And CWS is always an event that we look forward to, and hopefully this one's going to be a great success, not just for us, but for you and all the MSPs and the staffing providers as well. So
Absolutely. You both were very insightful. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you,
Thank
Trishan.
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.